Sober Saturdays, wow, how different a Saturday can be, it's glorious sunshine. Like, the difference for me with Saturdays, how have they changed now I've gone sober? How they've changed is twofold. Like, I have energy. Like, I'm now 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday, and I've actually accomplished so much since going sober. The accomplishments for me far outweigh what I was doing when I was drinking. So let me scroll back to days when I used to drink and get on the bag or whatever I used to do. The Saturdays were just hating my life. Probably still around I wasn't at home. I was around someone else's house. Just for me, I was around someone else's house. I was hanging, so I couldn't get home. I'd have to call my mum to get me home. So now today I've gone to see my mum and dad. I've had a 2-mile walk with my mum. I've got her out of the house. I've gone for a walk, so I've exercised with myself. I know this is like the small things, but bought her a cake, had a coffee with her, had time with Zoe, had time with my dad. I'm now going for a walk, doing this vlog, having time with myself. Now, for the old Marcus, time with myself was fucking horrible. Being in my head wasn't the place to be. Being in my head still sometimes now sober's hard enough. But I'm out there enjoying the fresh air, getting at least 10,000 steps in before next week. I'm getting excited about things. Excited about going for a walk. Excited about life. Whereas like my drinking was excited about the next session. And Sunday would come along. So Saturday would be my sober Saturdays. Obviously wouldn't be sober. I'd be either hanging on a come down or still on the session, still drinking from the Friday or the Thursday, depending when I started, or just feeling like complete shit because I'd ruined the weekend because I'd be really fucking heavy on a Friday night. So I think it's just the gratitude of now being able to do this. Even if I've got nothing on a Saturday, it's like I'd make something of that Saturday. So for me now, although there has been some things that I do miss. So for instance, friends that have maybe fallen by the wayside, or relationships that that I haven't got anymore, that maybe that at the time it was just that they were about boozing, but yeah, the opportunities that I have now I'm sober, and the clarity I have, the opportunities are endless. The clarity I have is crazy. Like, I plan stuff in that I really enjoy, like, whether it be golf, whether next weekend I've got the marathon, the weekend after I've got golf, and then I've got a charity football match that I'm playing with some celebrities that I probably looked up to. And yeah, I'm a trustee of a charity that supports 65,000 men with their mental health. And I suppose along this journey somewhere, I've always wanted to help others. And I get to do that now with my breath work, with my coaching. And that's going from I couldn't even help myself. I was just victim mindset, lost in this constant cycle of self-soothing, self-loathing every weekend. And then it got to Sunday and I was hating my life, and going back to my job, or hating like just sitting in bed or laying in bed all day, hating myself. Whereas tomorrow I get to run with my nephew. I get to do a 5k with my nephew and spend time with family and plan the week, and I've got a breath work tomorrow night. That's the difference between Saturdays, you know, like there's more to life than being hungover and feeling like shit. You know, the drink and drugs at the time are great. At that time, they're fucking fantastic. But the next day, and the day after that, and it turns out probably the day after that, they weren't great. And, you know, it's always the instant gratification you get, but then the delayed response and the responses after that aren't really worth it. So I suppose the vlog here is like asking yourself, what is it worth it? Is the payoff worth it? What's the upsides? And I can tell you, I know what the downsides are. Yeah, for me, the downsides were my wallet, my anxiety, my energy. I wouldn't exercise. My mental health was on the floor. You know, although them relationships aren't there no more, I'm in a much better space in my life, you know. The goals I've hit, the people I've made since then, the relationships I've made since then, the friendships I've made since then, the connections I've made since then. It's now priceless. So although the booze and drugs were very fleeting, and like in terms of the moods and the way it made me feel, was very fleeting at the time, made me feel fucking invincible. But afterwards, yeah, man, there were some dark times. And if you're feeling like you're going through dark times, just know I'm a perfect example of it. There's a way out. There's a way out for all of us. And for me, it could have been worse. It could have been, the way out could have been, yeah, in the ground. So if you need help, I've got a free community. If you ever want to drop by, the link is in the description. Just get on that free community.